All right. Uh, Good evening. I'm trying to adjust. It's been a long time since I've spoken into these two cameras, and so I'm trying to adjust them to where the camera angles are workable both on Facebook and YouTube. And maybe give just a minute for anybody who wants to get on in person at this time an opportunity to do that. I know if you are on YouTube watching, hey, Yakmans, maybe I'm sitting a little low. And if you're watching on Facebook, I'm probably sitting a little high. And so just I apologize for that. It's been a little while since I've done this. And so again, just give me about 20 more seconds to see if anybody happens to want to hop on and follow along. I am sitting upstairs right now in my office that has no air condition, and it's pretty warm. So if I start to glisten and gleam, it's just a little bit of sweat that's kicking in there, so hang with me. So, um, like I said, just wanted to give maybe just a minute for people to hop on here if they wanted to live, but I'll also send this out via an email here in just a little bit. And so I wanted to hop on here and just kind of share some information about, especially for this weekend for Pioneer, and possibly into the future, kind of let you know what's going on with us. And so again, wanted to hop on here and do that, record it, and then also send it out in just a minute. But if you're watching online, Emily, I see you're online on Facebook as well. Maybe others will hop on here in between. You can go back and watch it later. But I have some written notes here. So if I'm looking down, it's not because of anything other than just trying to make sure that I follow these notes that I've written down and to make it as succinct as possible. Trust me, you want me to follow notes rather than just to wing it. As all of you are probably aware, the governor of Oregon has issued an indoor mask mandate that went into effect today. Um, Many of us, myself included, were excited about getting back into the community city last week, into the community center last week, and maybe felt in a small way like we were getting back to some semblance of normalcy. I don't know about you, but I felt that way. And while I fully understand that infections and hospitalizations for COVID are on the uptick and have seen personal evidence to that fact from those who have recently been in hospitals or recently been hospitalized, and even from our own medical professionals. Even though I fully understand that, I was still, as many of you probably were, disappointed to hear our governor's indoor mask mandate. I am a firm believer that the government should not be able to infringe upon the free exercise of religion. I'm also a believer, and this is personally speaking, I'm also a believer in personal choice in this decision, and believe that there are some major oversteps in authority when it comes to some of these things. However, as many of you also understand, I also believe places of business, including the community center, have a right to ask patrons to follow the rules if people are to use their services and buildings. For years, even from the time I was a kid, I can remember walking up to places of business that see and have signs up there that say something like no shirt, no shoes, no service. And that was plainly understood that if you wanted to come in here and do business, that you had to do these things. Obviously, this what they're asking us to do puts us in a really difficult spot. And when it comes to using the community center, or honestly at this point any indoor facility, to some extent, our hands are tied. Um, Yesterday, I received communication from the community center that stated, and I want to read exactly what their communication said. It says this: it says, just wanted to let you know that due to the governor's statewide indoor mask mandate, everyone will be required to wear a mask inside the community center effective Friday, August 13th. That, what I just read to you, was the full extent of communication. I'm going to read it one more time. Just wanted to let you know that due to the governor's statewide indoor mask mandate, everyone will be required to wear a mask inside the community center effective Friday, August 13th. Trust me, like many of you, I have considered and prayed about the right course of action for me personally, for my family, and certainly for Pioneer. I do not want to jeopardize our opportunity to use the community center, both now or in the future. I also don't want to jeopardize our testimony to the community by fully ignoring the community center, what the community center has asked us to do. I will say, and I'll talk more about this in just a minute, I will say I will, and have already been looking for places that may offer us a little more say, a little more freedom, a little bit more choice in the matter. And while some may say, some people may take a much stronger stance than I do, and some may be more compliant than I am. I believe, and I want you to understand, I believe that's your right. I believe that if you want to wear a mask, I believe that should be your choice. And if you don't want to wear one, I believe that should be your choice. And obviously, there are a lot of people that don't believe that way, including the governor of Oregon and people that have to make really important decisions. But regardless of what you do, in your own, and I'm only speaking of your own personal life. I'm going to get to Pioneer and Sunday here in just a minute. I just ask that you are fully persuaded in your mind, not based on what the media says, not based on what someone else has told you, not based on your own feelings or even on your own wants, but you're fully persuaded in your own mind based upon definitive truth and God's word. In this instance, specifically speaking of Pioneer, we are again, to some extent, bound to what the community center has asked us to do if we want to use their building. With current conditions concerning heat and smoke, I don't believe outdoor options, especially this Sunday, are currently viable. So concerning this Sunday, August 15th, we do plan to hold in-person services, 9:30 a.m. discipleship class, 10:30 a.m. morning worship service in the community center in Wilsonville. And I am asking all that attend to abide by the request of the community center. And I will read it for the third time. Due to the governor's statewide indoor mask mandate, everyone will be required to wear a mask inside the community center. As many of you probably already know, this is for individuals older than 5 years. As with many decisions that have had to be made over the last 17 months, some, again, will disagree and some will agree, and that is your right. At the end of the day, though, I want you to understand this. At the end of the day, I am the one, me, not you. I am the one who will have to answer to God for the decisions that were made concerning Pioneer. And so with that said, I want to share a few other things as well. Some of them will be reiterations of things I've said already. Some of them may be new information, but I do want you to hang with me because I think this is some important stuff. I do not believe a government has the God-given right to hold any say over how people legally worship. I do believe there is a virus out there that has the potential to be harmful and deadly to some. I do believe you should educate yourself on precautions against the sickness, as many of you have done. I do believe you should have the choice on how you move forward with what you have learned and as to how you will protect yourself. Well, I do believe in the validity of COVID, and I've experienced it myself and have known others who have as well, and the potential dangers that it holds. I also have seen, and I think many of us have, way too much evidence that proves that our media, our government, and many others sensationalize and capitalize and thrive on fear tactics. And I do not believe Christians should operate in fear. As a matter of fact, I know that we're commanded to not fear in the Bible. I do want you to know, though, as your pastor, that the decisions that I am making today are not being based on fear. Honestly, they're made more with frustration than with anything else. I do believe every believer should be in church on Sunday, worshiping the Lord in person. Something else we're told in God's word is to not forsake the assembling of ourselves together. Trust me, I don't like this as much as many of you, but I'm not going to miss an opportunity to fellowship, to sing, to pray, to give, to partake in the Lord's Supper, and to spend time in God's word over this. Again, you may be willing to give all of that up for 2 hours in a mask. And I just want you to understand that as I have, that one day you'll have to answer to the Lord for your decision. I have to answer to the Lord for my decisions for myself, my family, and Pioneer, and you will as well. I mean, that's just plain and simple. But I'm not willing to give up the one day a week to worship the Lord over that. I'm just not. It's going to take way more than that to keep me out of the house of God on Sunday. Again, I'm not happy about it. I'm frustrated as can be about it. But it's going to take way more than that. That may be all it takes to keep you out on a Sunday, but it's going to take way more than that to keep me out on a Sunday morning. Lastly, I do promise to continue to fervently search for a place that gives us more say and more freedom in these choices. And again, as weather and smoke clears up, maybe outdoor options will present themselves, along with potential indoor options. I know, again, many of us were very excited to land back at the community center, and who knows, that may be where we end up staying. Regardless of all of that, I ask for you to pray with me. I ask you to honor the Lord in your attitudes and in your actions. I pray that you'll show much grace and understanding. And as you've done time and again throughout the last 17 months, I encourage you to stick with us, to encourage one another through these unprecedented times. Again, I am looking forward to Sunday. It's going to be really hard to squash my excitement about an opportunity to spend time in God's word, singing for his glory, and fellowshipping with other believers, especially on a Sunday where we get an opportunity to partake in the Lord's Supper. And I'm very much looking forward to it. And I hope you'll be there with us as well. If you have any questions or need clarification, please feel free to ask. I love you all, and I'm praying for you. God bless, and Lord willing, we'll see you on Sunday.